Hello everyone. We are from Group 14 and we'll talk about understanding relationship in NoSQL using MongoDB. Okay, before we head to the topic, let me introduce ourselves first. Okay, next. My name is Idewo Gedendra Gunasta and my NIM is 240101010.
Okay, my name is Ida Bagus Gede Surya Sankariksa and my name is 2401010018.
Okay, my name is Kadek Deva Surya Pratama. My name is 240101022.
Okay, and my name is Iputur Rita Maheswara, and my name is 2401010017.
Okay. So there is a few topics. Okay, next. There are relationship in MongoDB, relationship practice in MongoDB, application example, and code explanation. Okay, now we're going to head to relationship in MongoDB. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
Okay, so now I will explain about understanding relationship in NoSQL using MongoDB. But first, we must know what is the difference between MongoDB and other SQL DBMS. So the number one, as a flexible NoSQL database, MongoDB handles data connection differently than MySQL. Number two is there are no table joins like in SQL. Number three, data relationships are modeled using two primary approaches to support different application needs. And the number four is the main goal to design a data schema that is efficient for read and write. Okay, next. Okay, as I say, there are two primary approaches to support different application needs, such as the number one is embedding or denormalization. Number two is referencing. So we start from embedding. Embedding is storing related data within a single parent document and ideal for one-to-few relationship. The second one is referencing or normalization, storing data in separate collection and linking them with an ID like a foreign key. It is ideal for one-to-many or many-to-many relationship. Okay, next. Okay, so as we can see, the child data in embedding is stored as a subdocument or an array with the parent document. All relevant information exists in a single document. Okay, next. Okay, so there's also pros and cons about using embedding. So we will talk about the pros first. The pros is the first pro is fast read performance data can be retrieved with a single query, no join needed. The second one is atomic operation. Updated to a single document are atomic, or either all change success or none do. Okay, the next is the cons. So the cons of using embedding is data duplication if the same data, for example, a product needs to be linked across many documents. And the second one, document size limit. The document size limit. MongoDB document have a maximum size limit of 16 megabyte. Okay, next. Okay, now we headed to the referencing. As we can see, the referencing in its data type is stored in its own collection. Relationships are formed by storing the data ID of one document inside another. Okay, next. Okay, there are also pros and cons about using referencing. So the pros is reduce data duplication. Information is stored only once in the referencing. Okay, the second one is flexible and scalable, not bound by document size limit, easier for complex relationship and growing data sets. And the cost about referencing is require additional queries to retrieve routed data, a secondary query or a lookup operator is needed. And it's also slower It also had a slower read performance due to the need of application side or database side joins. Okay, next. So after we talking about embedding and referencing, now we will talk about when to use embedding and when to use referencing. We will use embedding when, first, you have one-to-one or one-to-few relationship. Data is frequently read together. Data consistency with a single write operation is critical or atomicity, and the embedded data does not change very often. And when we will use referencing, we will use referencing when you have one-to-many or many-to-many relationship. The related data change frequently or grows unboundedly. And the same piece of data needs to be accessed by many other documents. And the last one, you need to avoid exceeding the 60 megabyte MB document size limit. Okay, next. Okay, that's all for me. The presentation will be continued by Rio.
Okay, now we are going to practice it in MongoDB Compass. If you not have it installed in your computer, you can download it from the official website. This is how it looks when you first open it. Okay, so we are going to add a new connection first. Just save and connect, and then there is 3 database here. You can edit for yourself, whatever it say. Basis. I will edit basis data. Okay, collection name. I will add customer. Okay, your database. Okay, I will add 3 collection here. It's the first is customer, and then we can add product for the example product, and then the last is order. Okay, for you add data here, example in the customer, you can click here, add data, insert document. Okay, you can edit here. The syntax, you can follow it like this syntax, but I will just copy it from my own. Okay, for customer, then I think I will edit some more. Okay, just like that, and then I'm sorry. Okay, we're going add some product here for the example. So, nasi goreng prices-nya kategori insert, and then I think I will edit one more. Okay, and now we're going to add the data in the order. You can edit two types of relationship in order. At the first, you can add embedded document, and the second, you can edit the reference document. Okay, now we're going to add the embed document. Okay, I'm just going to paste it in. Sorry. Okay, this is how it looks if you add some embedded document. It's here the order type, can the customer name, the customer phone, and then there is item. You need to add all of data in the product like this, and this is the quantity. Okay, that's it. Okay, Now we're going to add the order, the reference document for the order. Okay, first you can insert document. Okay, this is the syntax for adding the reference document on the OID. This is you can take the customer ID from the ID in the customer, just like that, and then the product too, like this. In the embedded document, you need to add all of the data in the customer and product, but in the reference document, you just need to add the ID. Just add the ID like this. Can insert. Okay, just like that. You can see it here. And then here. That's it. Okay, that's it for the practice. Now we're going to the next topic that presented by Deva.
Okay guys, I will explain admin panel. In left side, you can see sidebar. In sidebar, add dashboard, category, subcategory, and in other. Okay, I will explain dashboard. In dashboard, you can see all product, out of product, limit stock, and other stock. And below, you can see product. In right side, you can see order detail. Next, category. In category, you can see category name, edit date. In here, you can edit and delete and add data. In here, you can enter category name, and you can enter the picture. Next, subcategory. Subcategory less or more that same than before. You can edit, delete, and add data. Okay, next. For brand, variant type, variant, order, and other, less or more that same than before. Next, I will explain the user panel. In user panel, before you login, you must sign up. Enter email, enter password, okay. After you sign up, you login, use the email and password than before. Okay, in dashboard you can see top category, product, and in below you can see home, favorite product, chart, and your profile. In favorite product, you can unfollow favorite. If you click the product, you can see detail of the product. Before you add to cart, you must change the color of product. After that, you click add chart. Okay. After that, you can see this product at cart. You can buy this product. We click this button and you enter phone, street, city, state, another. After that, you click complete order. You can see detail product you buy in profile. In my order, like this. Okay, and that's all for me. And the next will presented by Gus Anta.
Okay guys, I will continue the presentation. The last but not least is code explanation. For the clear explanation, I will use two different languages. The first one is English, and then I will translate it into the Indonesian. Okay, let's move. The very first thing we need to do when creating the code is to define our MongoDB database in the .env file. Oke, jadi hal yang pertama yang harus kita lakukan itu adalah copy link dari database MongoDB kita ke .env ini. We can obtain the MongoDB URL from the overview section within MongoDB. First, we need to open the MongoDB, and then we open the overview. In this overview, we can click the connect button, and then we can choose the driver. Here is your connection string, and you can copy that, and then paste that into your Mongo URL. I'm not doing it because I already have the Mongo URL. Okay, let's move to the code in the category DJS. The first piece of code aims to define the data structure and models for a category. Within it, a schema named category schema is created, which requires every category documents to have two mandatory fields. The first one is name, which is a string for the category's name, and the second one is the image, which is also string, typically used to store an image URL. Oke, jadi kode yang pertama ini, kategori .js ini digunakan untuk mendefinisikan sebuah model bernama kategori dengan kategori schema yang memiliki dua field, yaitu pertama itu field nama dengan tipe data string, dan kedua itu field image dengan tipe data string juga untuk menampung image URL-nya. And then by including the timestamp is true, this schema will automatically manage created add and update add fields for each data entry. Jadi dengan menambahkan timestamp true ini, ketika kita memasukkan data ke dalam database, dia akan otomatis menambahkan created add untuk setiap kali datanya baru dibuat, dan update add itu setiap kali datanya diperbarui. Finally, this schema is compiled into a model name category that will interact with the categories collection in the database and is then export via module.export to be used in other file. Here the code. Jadi model ini akan diekspor menjadi model categories di MongoDB. To see the model, we can browse collection. And then in the test database, we have the categories collection. Okay, let's move to the second code. I will explain the subcategory DJS. The second piece of the codes define the model for a subcategory. and more importantly, establishes the direct relationship with the previous created category model. Jadi model yang kedua ini bernama subkategori, dia memiliki relasi dengan model kategori yang sebelumnya sudah kita buat. This subcategory schema has a mandatory name field, which is also equipped with the trim option to clean up excess white space. Oke, jadi yang pertama itu kita mempunyai nama. Kemudian di sini ada atribut trim true. Ini menghapus semua kemungkinan white space yang ada ketika kita memasukkan namanya. The foundation of the relationship lies in the category ID fields, whose the types is set to mongos.schema.types.objectID property. This configuration explicitly creates a reference to a document in the category collection, ensuring that every subcategory must be tied to a parent category. Jadi kategori ID ini dia akan berelasi dengan kategori collection yang sebelumnya sudah kita buat. Dengan menambahkan field required, ini memastikan bahwa sebelum kita membuat subkategori, kita harus mengisikan kategori ID-nya terlebih dahulu. Jadi kategori ID-nya itu tidak boleh kosong. Just like the category schema, this schema also use timestamp, and it's conclude by being compiled into a subcategory model, which is then export for use in the other application. Here the subcategories collection. Okay, the last, I think we need to test the API that we create before. For posting data, we must use the Postman. Here we are. Our JSON requires two values to create a subcategory. The first is name and the second is category ID, like before. And then we must ensure the Postman is post method. And then we can send the data. And here is the response message as JSON. Okay, the data received the null because in the code we define data as a null. Okay, I want to post other data. I will make it maybe James. And then, the category ID we can get in the categories collection. Okay, it's take a few moments. And then the object ID we must copy and paste into the category ID in the post subcategory. And then I want to see the subcategory before I post the new data. Okay, here it's I want to post. Wait. Okay, here the jeans is not available from now. And then if I refresh, the jeans will insert automatically. And then we have a get subcategory. It's not required the body, just send it and we receive the data in the subcategories that contain all data in the subcategories. Okay, that's all from my explanation. I will give it back to the Ryu.
Okay, that's all for our presentation. We're sorry if we made some mistakes. We hope you guys can understand our presentation well. Okay, so thank you and see you next time.